Good afternoon. Thank you for creating time for us. You are in time for the Lunchtime News. It is the 5th day in the month of August 2022. 3 days to the August polls. KBC Channel 1 is bringing you a coverage like no other. We are in all the 290 constituencies. Do interact with us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. On sign language interpretation, we have Lucy Mwaura. We begin with security concerns. Over 300 police officers will be deployed across polling stations and tallying centers in Samburu County on 9th of August. This will be done in a bid to ensure security is beefed up and the electorate can exercise their constitutional voting right in a safe environment. The county's returning officer, Paul Conness, confirmed that the election materials, including ballot papers, apart from those of the presidency, have reached the constituency offices.
4 days to the elections, and security in Samburu County is being beefed up. Over 300 police officers are set to be deployed in the several polling stations and tallying centers to ensure smooth running of the exercise. IEBC officials in the county have confirmed that apart from the presidential ballot papers, the rest of the voting material have arrived.
We've had several meetings with the security teams. There are areas which are insecure, and they have assured us that they have done everything that is possible to ensure that the election is not disrupted.
Residents have been called upon to turn up in large numbers and exercise their constitutional right, but at the same time cautioned to maintain peace during the exercise.
And then at the tallying center we shall be having 20 police officers manning the tallying center. And then at the same time we shall also have some security officers who are going around the constituencies or the polling station to ensure that security is maintained.
Presiding officers and deputy presiding officers were trained yesterday, whereas clerks are being trained today. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka now says an Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition government will deal head-on with those who embezzled funds meant for development projects such as construction of dams in arid and semi-arid parts of the country. Kalonzo, who took Azimio campaigns to Marsabit, pinpointed the stalled Badasa Dam in Marsabit County as one of the such projects.
Speaking in Marsabit County, Kalonzo Musyoka said that those involved in looting money set aside for construction of the Badasa Dam will face the law under the Azimio administration.
Kuna wezi walikula hiyo pesa, hao kwanza watarudisha hizo. Kumbukeni Badasa Dam, hiyo ndio italeta maji ya kutosha hapa Marsabit.
Kalonzo, who was accompanied by the local leaders, urged area residents to come out in large numbers on Tuesday next week to ensure victory for the Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga. Elsewhere in Kiambu County, all candidates seeking elective seats in the region failed to appear for a prayer meeting organized by the National Council of Churches of Kenya, NCCK. Addressing the media at the venue, NCCK branch chairperson Reverend Simon Murigi, however, downplayed the boycott, saying that the candidates had sent their apologies.
We had invited them to come, but I think because of their tight schedule to do campaigns, they forgot prayer is of essence.
Meanwhile, in Nairobi County, Kamukunji constituency Wiper Party candidate Hussein Abdi has urged locals to vote for him, promising a development revolution in a constituency he claimed has lagged behind.
Kidogo ameshika usukani for almost 15 years. Mimi ni kijana yake, mimi ni ndugu yake, yeye ni ndugu yangu mkubwa. Akae kidogo apate usukani mimi pia nisongeshe kutoka hapo mahali ameachia.
And finally, in Bomet County, UDA gubernatorial candidate Hilary Barchok has claimed that there are plans to block him from using Bomet Green Stadium for his final mega rally on Saturday, 6th of August. Barchok, who claimed Chama cha Mashinani was behind his predicament, said he has necessary documentations for the event.
We urge the IEBC to communicate and remind CCM party to desist from planning disruptions. On 6th of It was done on 8th of June at Famous Gate. And in attendance were all the security agencies, the IBC, and all the candidates. And they all agreed that the harmonized campaign schedule will be able to be kept. And so much so that actually the basis as to why the CCM, we were given the permit.
Embakasi Ward ODM member of County Assembly candidate Ricardo Nyantika has urged Kenya Kwanza team to refrain from causing tension in the country through spreading unwarranted propaganda ahead of the August 9th general election. Speaking while meeting with members of the Luya community in Embakasi, Nyantika called on voters to come out in large numbers to ensure Azimio la Umoja forms the next government after the general election. He also promised to return all grabbed public utilities in the ward, as well as to fight unemployment by equipping women and youth groups.
Tutatembea na Azimio, tutatembea na Nyantika, tutatembea na Babu Owino, na Sifuna Je, na Pasaris, na Gavana. Wale ambao walijenga kwa landi ya primary school hapa Tasia, upende usipende, hiyo tunabomoa. Lazima shule itajengwa hapa Tasia, watoto wetu wasome, si ndio? Afadhali tajiri mmoja umie, masikini wengi wafaidike.
Now, Health Principal Secretary Susan Mochache has decried the high rates of HIV infections among the youth, terming it an increasingly major economic burden. The Principal Secretary said the government spends 25 billion shillings annually to care for HIV-infected people.
Addressing community volunteer health workers and various stakeholders, the Principal Secretary disclosed that Nyamira County had a total of 338 youths testing positive, which might lead to more reinfections and pose more danger. Mochache compared the current 5,000 HIV mortality rate with a similar one from COVID-19 in 2020, urging the community to embrace preventive as opposed to curative measures.
Sasa tukiendelea hivi, ile kitu inatuletea wasiwasi na inafanya tuje tuongee, hiyo mzigo itakuwa mzito. Serikali itafika mahali shindwe kubeba huo mzigo tukiendelea namna hii.
She disclosed that the national government was spending 25 billion shillings annually to care for HIV-infected people.
Tukiangalia katika maneno ya afya na sana sana tukizingatia ugonjwa wa ukimwi, tumeona kwamba ugonjwa huu unaanza kuenea sana kati ya youths. Ugonjwa wa ukimwi sasa unalenga youths kuliko watu wakubwa. Na nafikiri Dr. Mulu ameeleza ni kwa nini. Sababu hawa youths hawakuwa ule wakati ambao ukiwa na ukimwi haikuwa siri.
Acting General Director Medical Preventive and Promotive Services Dr. Andrew Mulwa also challenged parents to sensitize the youths on the need to avoid teenage pregnancies, adding that reported cases were on an upward trend.
Mazungumzo na masomo ya leo ni jinsi sisi watu wazima tumeweza kuwadhulumu na kuwadhuru watoto wetu wakapoteza ama wakawa maisha yao kesho si mema jinsi tunapaswa.
Reporting.
All right, the government is working in reforming the energy sector for the benefit of the country, and currently Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma is addressing members of the press. Let's cross over and listen in.
Achieve the optimal solutions for us. Only last week, KPLC and our counterpart in Ethiopia inked in a most significant PPA deal, the provision of 200 megawatts of renewable energy to our grid at a very competitive rate, which will be commencing on November 2022. The effect of this is significant. It means that we have secured our country from what was a real possibility of load shedding starting as early as January of 2023. I am pleased to report that we are also in discussions with KenGen. KenGen, as you all know, is the largest power generator in Kenya, accounting for over 70% of all power purchased by Kenya Power. and is also a notable low-cost supplier. Notwithstanding this commendable contribution, KenGen have stepped up to the challenge of seeing whether they can bring even more efficiency into their operations with the resultant consumer tariff reductions. We will expand negotiations to all IPPs, small and large, old and new, and as I have stressed on many occasions, our objectives is to arrive at negotiated outcomes that work for Kenya and for the IPPs. However, I must stress yet again that while good faith negotiations remained our preferred modus operandi, we are determined to obtain appropriate redress where egregious acts injurious to Kenya have been perpetrated during the awarding of PPAs. Aware of the critical role of our development partners, we continue to hold discussion with them in support for Kenya's drive for affordable, accessible, reliable, and green power for all. I wish to thank them for their continued demonstrated support for Kenya.
Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma addressing members of the press. My colleague Caroline Jenga is with the team. Be sure to catch up with her later on in a subsequent bulletin for more details as events unfold. To other news, Migori County government has launched a community-led health model policy that will see community health workers recognized and rewarded for their services in the community. The document will assist the county government in mapping out areas that are high demand for community outreach services and devise ways of enhancing service delivery.
According to the country's chief officer in charge of the health department, Pauline Amolo, they have defined remuneration frameworks for the community health workers, among other benefits that they will enjoy from the county government.
Today, I think this has marked the beginning of a very interesting journey in the Department of Health, considering that now these community healthcare workers will be motivated to deliver.
The chief officer added that they are in talks with the national government to have the community health workers included in the payroll system like other health workers.
But we are also in conversations with the national government to see how these community healthcare workers can be recognized as healthcare workers in the system to enable them earn at least a minimum wage in the county government.
The community health workers have welcomed the move, urging both the national and county governments to consider empowering them with mobility equipment for ease of access.
Yale ambao naweza kusema shida ambao tunaona wamama ikiwa wanataka kuzaa, transportation inakuwa shida. Kama wangetuletea magari ya kuchukua watu kupeleka kwa hospitali, ingekuwa jambo mzuri sana.
The health workers added that despite being the link between the various communities and the health department, they incur a lot of expenses in trying to save the lives of patients at home before they reach the health facilities. For Lunchtime News, I'm Weekly Foucault.
Glad you're watching the Lunchtime News. We are paving way for commercials. We'll be back with more news after the break. Stay with us.
My kids are always on their devices. Kila saa.
Mommy, look, I'm a cyber soldier.
Huyu is always on his social. But online ina mambo mengi. It's a new world of risks.
The Communications Authority of Kenya, CA, manages Kenya's cyberspace to keep you and your family safe online so you can learn, interact, and thrive online.
Na mimi, can I be a cyber soldier too?
The Communications Authority of Kenya, opening your world.
Pata ulimi na mafikira kama skiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *815 hash.
Hey, my friend, ulimi ni kama msumari.
na mafikira ni kama nyundo. Hizo vitu mbili zikishikana, zinaweza jenga ama zinaweza bomoa. Kina sita tafadhali, hebu fikiria hiyo kitu nataka kuniambia kabla nishike hii simu. Kama unataka kunibomoa, toa hiyo simu kwa masikio. Unaona hiyo kitu ya red? Finya hiyo kitu ya red.
Kupata ulimi na mafikira, bonyeza *811 *815 hash. *811 *815 hash.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has been a champion of conservation efforts and climate change in Kenya and globally.
Tunapanda miti ndio tuweze kuhifadhi mazingira yetu.
His commitment and dedication to environmental conservation has led to the realization of the objectives of sustainable conservation and management of Kenya's forest resources through the Kenya Forest Service.
You've seen himself planting trees and visiting forest and visiting, have you seen all this?
His directive that we attain 10% tree cover by 2022 has been achieved. How else can you rate that? That's an A+.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching the Lunchtime News. Welcome back. Health workers and professionals in Machakos County are calling on the next government to address key issues that they have been facing in discharging their duties. They have cited hostile working conditions and stagnation in one job group, among other issues that have fueled persistent labor strife in the health sector.
Led by the chairperson of Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacist and Dentist Union Lower Eastern, Dr. Charles Okumu, the doctor said they have been working for long hours due to staff shortage and their salaries are constantly delayed.
Doctors, nurses and other healthcare workers stagnating in job groups for more than 10 to 15 years. We also have staff shortages. We have people working more hours than they're supposed to work. We have those who are employed on contract, who, again, have been waiting for employment confirmation, even despite working for more than 3 years. Now, there are other problems we've seen, like salary delays, and other problems like lack of supplies. There are times in the main hospital, we do not have gloves, basic commodities, and drugs. We want to see this coming to an end.
Patients have also been forced to buy medicine, which has increased the financial burden to those seeking medical attention in various health facilities in the county.
When a patient comes and they have to buy certain commodities and they do not have money, neither do they have insurance, then for sure that patient has no other way out when it is that hospital that they came to seek help. They are forced to go to a private hospital, which is more expensive and they cannot afford.
The team of health workers endorsed Wavinya Ndeti, the gubernatorial candidate of Machakos County, who has promised to work closely with them in ensuring residents get quality health services.
We are going to work together as partners. Yeah? Hakuna mtu kwa hii dunia anajiweza. Mimi sio daktari, sijui shida zote za madaktari. Lazima nikae chini na nyinyi, munielezee ndio tuweze kutembea pamoja. Watu wawili watatembeaje pamoja kama wajuani? Lazima tujuane, tukae chini, tuangalie vile tuta sort out problems zote za mahospitali ya kaunti ya Machakos. Na mumejua health ni priority kwangu.
Elvis Otieno for Lunchtime News.
Acting Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa has called on Kenyans to choose leaders who will deepen and strengthen devolution, which has been the success of grassroots development. Wamalwa said it was important for the electorate not to overlook the integrity of leaders, as it is paramount in enhancing devolution.
Some good words, which I'm sure.
Speaking
Speaking during a farewell party organized by the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee mandated to coordinate devolution, Acting Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa urged the electorate to vote for leaders who are keen to advance devolution.
Next week on Tuesday, promises made at this time by politicians. But what is working for every Kenyan today, in every county today, is devolution.
Wamalwa noting that a harmonious relationship between the two levels of government will impact positively on devolution.
All we need are leaders of integrity and leaders who will take Kenya to the next level. Whether in their counties or in this country, that decision will be made on the 9th. I believe the most precious thing that should be on that ballot is devolution.
As we start the next 10 years of devolution, we will be looking at building on the successes of the first era, which is the last 10 years. We will be also learning from the lessons learned, avoiding the mistakes.
We are gratified for all the support that we have given us as NGRTC in the period I've been there, and I say that very deliberately because we haven't had any issues with the ministry really, but the leader's attitude makes a lot of difference.
In Busia County, incumbent Deputy Governor Moses Mulomi has stepped down from the gubernatorial race, leaving only 2 contestants. Mulomi, who was vying on DAPK ticket under Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, said his decision was arrived at after wide consultation with Orange Democratic Movement Party leader Raila Odinga.
Mimi na mwenzangu Tom Ipamai tutaendelea kwa king'ang'aniro cha ugavana wa Busia, na ningependa kusema pia kwamba sisi tukiwa wale ambao tuwania kura, tungependa kila mmoja ajue kwamba kura ni kitu ambacho kinahitaji kutekelezwa kisheria na ni demokrasia yetu.
Former Funyula Member of Parliament and ODM candidate Dr. Paul Otoma will contest against Kenya Kwanza Sakwa Bunyasi on Amani National Congress ticket. Meanwhile, a number of supporters of Azimio Coalition Kisii County gubernatorial candidate Simba Arati from Bonchari constituency have decamped to Kenya National Congress to support Manson Oyongo.
We came here to declare our support for His Excellency Governor Manson Oyongo.
We have unanimously agreed that we want a peaceful Kisii County. We have had peace in Kisii, and as we sat as leaders of Bonchari, we have agreed we don't want elections where we are going to be fought.
This comes as Kiambu Governor Dr. James Nyoro received a blessing from the Kiama and Kikuyu Council of Elders at their shrine in Kiambu. Kikuyu Council of Elders Chairman Washira Wakiago prayed for peace and sobriety in the forthcoming general election, urging youth to desist from being used to cause chaos.
Tunajua ukweli Kiambu iko na watu wengi jamii zote kutoka kwa hii nchi. Na hatutaki furugu. Tunataka tupendane wote. Sababu sisi wote ni Kenya. Kila mtu akiangalia mwingine amwangalie kama Mkenya, sio mkabila. Ili kwa sababu Kenya itaendelea hata baada ya siku ya uchaguzi.
They were praying for me as we enter the election days. So they had come as elders to pray for me, which I really appreciate. Even the recognition that they can call me, because they didn't call everybody, that they can call me and pray for me. So that to me I take with a lot of humility.
Kamche Menza for Lunchtime News.
Well, back to politics. All is set for the Kenya Kwanza mega rally on Saturday at the Nyayo National Stadium in the county of Nairobi. Leaders from Kenya Kwanza, led by Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja, inspected the venue ahead of their last rally and assured their supporters that the event will be peaceful. Sakaja this morning urged Kenyans and the entire Kenya Kwanza supporters to come out in large numbers during the event. The leaders calling for political tolerance ahead of Tuesday's poll.
For joining us today. We are the Kenya Kwanza leadership in Nairobi. We are very grateful and excited about the final call, the final pitch that our presidential candidate, William Ruto, together with the Kenya Kwanza team, is going to make tomorrow. On behalf of the leadership of Nairobi, I want to invite Kenyans from all walks of life, from across the counties, from our neighboring counties of Kiambu, Murang'a, Kajiado, Machakos, to come here early tomorrow, because tomorrow is when we give our final pitch to Kenya. Our people, our young people, our residents, to exercise political tolerance. We're having two major functions in the city. One function, of course, the most major one is here in our stadium, and then we have another function at Kasarani. Hata tukipitana kwa njia tuheshimiane, as we believe in siasa safi.
As a peaceful nation, I want to urge every hustler who will be coming from wherever will be coming to put on a yellow attire. Tomorrow is a yellow day, because our competitors will be on the other side, we'll be on this side, and we are ready for the day tomorrow.
The Nakuru County government is seeking an out-of-court settlement to have the Kenya Wildlife Service release over 300 fishing boats and engines confiscated for alleged illegal fishing in an unprotected area in Lake Naivasha. Area Governor Lee Kinyanjui says continued confinement of the boats is affecting the livelihoods of many families.
The county government has moved in to engage Kenya Wildlife Service to have at least 300 detained fishing boats released back to the owners. In 2021, KWS confiscated the boats for alleged illegal fishing in protected areas at Lake Naivasha. The county government is now seeking an out-of-court settlement to have the boats and engines released. Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui says negotiations between the Nakuru County government and KWS are at an advanced stage so that the affected persons can be allowed to collect the boats. The Secretary, Lake Naivasha Network Group, Grace Nyambura, says the lake was the mainstay of hundreds of area residents and the continued holding of the boats was affecting many families.
Boat moja na injini moja ni $500,000. Hatukuwa tumesoma kiasi hiyo ya kujua ya kwamba samaki ikiwa kwa maji tunaweza zuiwa kuipata.
Addressing the fisher folk from Lake Naivasha, Kinyanjui said the county was keen to have all access corridors opened up for easier access to the water body.
Chumi yetu kubwa inategemea hoteli za hapa na pia uvuvi. Na kama vile imesemekana, jukumu yetu ya kwanza ilikuwa ni kuhakikisha kwamba tumeweza kusecure corridors. Isiwe tu lake ni ya matajiri peke yao. Wanatengeneza manyumba ya kifahari, mahoteli ya kifahari, lakini mwananchi wa kawaida hana access kwenda kwa lake.
Farmers in Keore Village, Kenyanya Sub-County, Kisii County have donated 10 acres of land to Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute in a partnership that will revamp fish farming in the county. KEMRI CEO James Njero says the farmers' move is also bound to boost the country's fish production, which currently stands at 400,000 tons.
Speaking at Keore Village, Kenyanya Sub-County, Kisii County, during handing over of the land title deed, the secretary for the Keore Kemfree project, Zachariah Mayoga, said the idea was subjected to public participation.
Nao walikubali ya kwamba mradi huu uendelee. Ndio sababu leo tumekuja kuhitimisha hiyo ili kazi ianze mara moja. Hata wenyewe wanafurahi, wanataka kuona huu mradi ukiendelea immediately.
He further claimed the project aims to boost food security and improve earnings to farmers. Kemfri CEO James Njiru and area DCC Henry Meto says the project will not only go a long way in providing a source of white meat, but also revamp the blue economy, which accounts for billions of shillings.
Na manufaa yake inakuwa ni mengi. Miezi 6, miezi 8 utakuwa ukiweka samaki kwa kindimbwi, na tukitumia ule utafiti tuko nao kwa wakati huu, unawezekana miezi 6, miezi 7, miezi 8 umeweza kupata pesa karibu mara 5 ile ungepata kwa ile shamba kwa shamba kama ungepanda mahindi.
We have had a blue economy in Kenya in terms of it will bring billions of shillings. So this is part of the blue economy that we are talking about. And as we welcome the institute to come here, we will do everything that is possible to ensure that the program takes root.
Farmers at the Bura irrigation scheme in Tana River County are calling on the government to expedite the completion of water canals to solve the ongoing water shortage in the area. According to the farmers, the canals will replace water pumping from River Tana at the Nanigi intake.
The farmers expressed their frustrations over lack of enough water to grow their crops, especially rice, which requires a lot of water. Through the National Irrigation Board, the farmers requested the government to complete the construction of water canals, which will be cheap since the water will flow by gravity to their farms.
Hatupati maji ya kulima vile inavyohitajika, na katika mtaro huu ambao tunaambiwa ni gravity inatengenezwa. Hii gravity ilianza kusemwa tangu 1984, tuliingia hapa tukiwa wasichana wadogo mpaka wa leo hii. Bado gravity inasemwa tu na haijawahi fika.
Na kutoka hiyo 2019 mpaka wa leo gravity haijaisha. Tumerudi huko 2022, gravity iko vile vile.
The farmers claims that due to the losses incurred, they are left in a precarious situation since they cannot repay government loans issued to them.
Tolewa kwa upande ya serikali, lakini hata saa hii hatujui tutarudisha namna gani, kwa sababu tulipanda pojo. Wanyama saa hii mayonda wakaingilia wakasafisha shamba yote ikaisha.
The farmers also called on the Kenya Wildlife Service to intervene and help, especially with the elephants which have been grazing on their crops at night.
Ati ni wengi hapa sana. Juu wakiingia kwa hii shamba uwezi watoa. Juu hiyo ni kuriski.
Makaribu 400 wanategemea hiyo. Haitoshi. Kama serikali haiwezi, watutafutie mahali ingine tuende tuajiriwe kuliko kusemekana ni wakulima.
Edwin Austin for Lunchtime News.
Thank you for staying with us. Time for business news. Juakali artisans can now access 110 functional Ajira empowerment centers across the country for free formal digital training, provided they show up as organized groups. The Kenya Private Sector Alliance says the low financial and digital literacy rates within the informal sector are a bottleneck to wider uptake in the digital economy, which could be remedied through personalized training.
Over 1.2 million Kenyans are already working online, with a further 7.5 million aware of digital work opportunities. The Ministry of ICT now says blue-collar workers lacking digital skills can easily gain free training from centers across the country, with a physical trainer being availed if they show up in groups.
How can we be able to use the technology to be able to better the prospects of this sector?
Blue-collar workers across the country are now being urged to take up the face-to-face learning to tilt the scale in their favor in the current unbalanced work environment. KEPSA says digital inclusion is paramount in private entities, and the training will go a long way in ensuring informal workers have decent means of sustaining a living.
Now we are operating in a global market space. There is no way we can continue behaving like our market is Karioko. We have shifted. Technology has shown us that Karioko now can be found in a global map. And therefore, we are actually operating in a global space. And opening up opportunities for this sector is so important, because there's no way we are going to realize the aspirations and the ambitions of the many trade protocols.
Kenchik Limited is targeting to train over 6,000 of its outgrowers in Limuru and its environs on the best chicken rearing practices. The farm has opened a one-stop shop in Rironi to offer extension services to farmers to ensure they rear quality broods that can fetch more at the markets and increase farmers' earnings.
Kenchik is seeking to strengthen its meat traceability system through extension services to its outgrowers as it ramps up its food safety efforts.
All our farm-to-farm, all our farm-to-fork model, whereby we are able to trace back any cut of meat, any chick laid at the breeder farm when it is set in the in the hatches or when it is set in the hatchery.
The farm has opened a one-stop shop in Limuru that will offer extension services to over 6,000 poultry farmers. The facility is part of the farm's expansion strategy that has seen such shops built across 47 counties.
Most important, we have what we call the technical support that we'll be offering to customers within the region.
To show up food safety standards, Kenchik is warning farmers against abuse of antibiotics in chicken rearing, saying overuse of the drugs may be harmful to consumers. This comes as demand for chicken as a substitute for red meat is on the increase in the country.
Look at Kenya at the moment. We are looking at a consumption of about 3 kilos of meat per household. And again, our population is still growing. So there's huge potential.
Benson Rioba for Lunchtime News.
All right, let's play time for Channel 1 Sports News. Chelsea's captain Cesar Azpilicueta has signed a 2-year contract extension at the Premier League club, ending media speculation of his move to Spanish side Barcelona. The Spain international defender had signed a 4-year deal in 2018 that was due to end this year, but reports said Chelsea had triggered a 1-year extension before offering him a new contract that will further extend his stay in London. Chelsea chairman said